Welcome to Raw Take, everyone, the lifeline to your unfiltered media experience. Before we get started, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're on Facebook, like, comment, and share. I'm your host, Gion Thomas, and this is my co-host, Archie, and this is the Monday live stream. And we have special guest, Oscar Telfair, for Judge of Fort Bend County at Law. And today we'll be talking about community needs and affairs. But first, tell us a little bit about yourself, Oscar.
Good evening, Gion and Archie, and thank you for having me on today. My name is Oscar Telfair. I'm a candidate for Judge of County Court of Law number 2 in Fort Bend County. I've been practicing law about 35 years. I practice in areas of civil, criminal, probate, family, and commercial law, all areas of law in which that particular court handles. I've been in private practice for the last 26 years. I was in corporate law, corporate tax attorney for about 10 years, and I was also in corporate counsel. I'm running on fair and impartial justice for all. I believe justice should not be based on one's race, gender, ethnicity, economic status. Justice should be even-handed. Indeed, Fort Bend is the most diverse county in the United States of America, the most diverse county. And so I think justice should look like everyone. And that's why I'm running. Okay. Like I said, I've been practicing 35 years.
And that's awesome. And we need people. And I like what you said. Justice needs to be, it needs to be fair and it needs to look like us. So one of the things that we're going to be talking about tonight, we're going to be talking about the pipeline extension from schools to prisons. And this is a topic that we have all heard about. This is something that is greatly affected in minority communities and communities of low income. And so, Oscar, how do we stop this? How do we stop that school to prison pipeline?
Well, we have to educate our youth. Indeed, we talk about the pipeline extension from high school to prison, but actually they start planning the prisons, building prisons when our kids are in 3rd grade. So they're planning the number of prisons when they see a 3rd grader, a minority 3rd grader. So it's got to start early. We got to start mentoring our kids. We got to start telling them and leading them in the right way. Mentorship programs are out there. I'm a part of a lot of community-based organizations. Indeed, we started one back home in my hometown. I'm originally from New Jersey. I've been in Texas 34 years. Everyone say you're not from Texas, but I got here as soon as I could. Okay. So what we did, a couple friends of mine, we just got together in May of 2020. We're checking on each other, see how each other was coming through with COVID, with the pandemic. And we started talking about what was going on back home. The crime, no jobs. And we formed a community based organization, a community nonprofit, in which we're starting mentorship programs. We did a big community day after a year. We incorporated a nonprofit status, 501c3 status. And so we got to catch our youth real early, very early. And they got to know that there's a great big world out there. Okay. A lot of our kids, even in Texas, they don't understand that there's a big world. The world is our oyster. And so you got to go out. You got to show them that there's something outside of their specific environment. And when they see that, and when they understand that their actions have consequences and that people are planning for them, when they get to high school, they're planning prisons when they're in 3rd grade. So we got to educate them, but we have to take them under our wing. Okay. I was the only boy. I was raised by my mother. She was a divorcee, and then she passed away when I was 7 years old. And my grandparents raised my 4 sisters and I. So we were taught early. We get strong moral character. We say we were drugged kids because we were drugged to church. Okay, in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. Okay, so you got to have strong moral character, and that's taught. It's like love is taught. Some people they say don't know how to love because it's a taught behavior. So you got to teach that moral character. You got to give them, hey, this is what you need to do. This is. You need to go to school. You need to get an education. You don't have to if you don't go to college, you got the service, but do something honorable. Okay. And that way, when you build that character, they want they will not want to go out, and it starts with sometimes just petty theft, going to a store, and then it just explodes.
Yeah.
You go from that and you go to something larger, and then you want to take this and you want to take that, and that's where it starts. And this is a misdemeanor. It's not just a criminal court. If anyone tells you that this is just a criminal court, you're going to hear that in this campaign. It's not just a criminal court. This is the people's court. So, and the issue is that because individuals that are charged with crime have a right to a speedy trial, so they're going to go first. But if you have a personal injury case, if you have a probate case, we know that everybody's going to pass away, right? So if you have a will, if in this particular court, it's got to be heard. You had a personal injury case. I've had cases not only in county court of law, but in district court in Fort Bend that has taken as much as 5 years to get to trial. Wow. That's a travesty. Wow. Because if you have a personal injury and you have expenses that need to be paid, you got pain and suffering. And when those hospitals and those medical providers, when they want their money for those bills, they don't want to wait 5 years. Okay. So you're constantly getting barraged with those bills, but you can't get those cases to trial. And the insurance companies aren't just settling those cases now. They're wanting you to go to trial. So, and waiting for you. So they're making you file suit, knowing that these cases aren't going to go to trial. So you're going to take something less than what you would have taken. So that's an issue. So that's why I'm running to provide a more balanced approach in that particular court. And hopefully we can impress upon our commissioners that maybe we need more courts, to hear these cases. But, it's not criminal. Even because of the pandemic, we have a backlog of the criminal cases. So, and unfortunately, if you're a larger county like Harris County that has above 1 million people, their courts, their civil courts and probate courts are bifurcated, or in that instance, trifurcated, because you have a probate court, you have a county criminal court of law, and a county civil court of law. So they have the opportunity to separate those cases in a particular court that they should be in. We don't have that luxury in Fort Bend County because we have not reached 1 million people. So the census doesn't look like we're going to get to 1 million. So we're going to have that same problem. And so we need someone in there with vision. And I got a vision in which to employ a more balanced approach. So, but like you said, getting back, we need to mentor our youth. We need to let them know, hey, there's a world out there, and you got to believe that you can be somebody. We got to let them know that they can be somebody, because they, their self-esteem is low. People tell them that, what they can't be. I was told in 11th grade, I'll tell this story over and over. My guidance counselor, I went to her to talk to her about going to college. She said, well, I don't think you're college material. She said that you need to go into the vocational school and get a trade. Okay. Do a plumber. For me, that was honorable, because as a young child being raised by our grandparents, not having a whole lot of money, living off my mother's Social Security check and Medicaid card and food stamps, we were doing, New Jersey was the garden state. So we were doing what we call going to the field, which was farm labor. Okay. So anything above that was honorable. Okay. But that was honorable because you were making honest money. But so she told me that. And so that challenged me to not let someone tell me who I can be. Maya Angelou has a quote. She says, when people show you who they are, believe them. Well, my thing is, when people tell you who you're not, show them otherwise. Exactly. Okay. That's what I live by. Okay. So I've been told you're never going to be anything. And so I just aspired to be somebody. And my grandmother always told me, you want to better yourself, but you're not necessarily better than anyone else. Okay. She said, you meet the same people going up that you meet coming down. Okay. So she said, you just want to be better. Okay. You want to be better. You're not better than anyone else. Okay.
Yeah. So that's very wise words. And that's why we just need more representation, lawyers, judges, we need more people who look like you, because, sometimes when they don't look like you, and especially back in the day, people used to, tell young Black youth, like, you can't be anything. You're not qualified. You're not college material. Like, What kind of question is that? Like, just to tell a child that's so demeaning. And so, that's why we need a lot of we need more representation. And that's some of the things that stops that school to prison pipeline. If you see doctors and lawyers, you aspire to be a whole lot more. One of the things that I really dislike with the mainstream media is how you can only be a basketball player, a rapper, or or just it's never like academics. We can't make it. You can't have black doctors, black lawyers, black politicians. It's just just the media. Sometimes it can be just very discouraging.
If I might, we need a diverse court. I mean, like I said, Fort Bend is the most diverse county. There's Hispanics, there's Indians. Indeed, we have our first, not only the first Indian, Asian American judge on the bench in Fort Bend. She's the first South Asian judge in America. Okay. Wow. Okay. In County Court of Law number 3, we have a Hispanic judge in district court. He was just elected, Judge Christian Becerra. Indeed, I ran in against him in 2020. We become the best of friends. Okay. Great judge. And we have a more diverse court. Since 2018, Fort Bend has gone blue. And so there's a more diverse judge. So when you walk in the courtroom, we see people that look like everybody. Okay. I mean, you can go from courtroom to courtroom. Indeed, I walked in courtrooms since in 2019 up until now. And the judge will ask me, he said, "What do you want, Mr. Telfair? You're not on the docket." I said, "I'm just enjoying the view." Okay. Because it's a more diverse court. It's not about black. It's not about white. It's not about Indian. It's about Hispanic. It's about a diverse, everybody should be given the opportunity to serve. Okay. And compassionate justice. You need justice. Justice should be done, but there's opportunities. Indeed, we have a DA that have employed and put in place some rehabilitative and mental health programs. Mm-hmm. They got to be utilized, because if there's an opportunity for a second chance, we need to utilize those programs. Now, we're going to, a policeman asked me yesterday at an event, "Are you just going to let folks that keep committing crime out?" I said, "No, that's not what fair and impartial justice is about. You need to have fair and impartial justice, but it needs to be just. If someone keeps committing the same crime over and over, they got a problem, okay? Mm-hmm. And they need to get the swift and fast judgment, okay? But if they got a mental health problem, then we need to get them the help that they need, okay? And they have confinement programs for those with mental health problems, okay? So we need to employ those programs. And I want to make sure that those programs that are already in place are utilized.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure when a DA brings a case, and it's got to be probable cause. Now, probable is more probable than not. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's got to be, I say, it can't be possible cause, because we know anything is possible. Okay. It's got to be probable cause. So bring a case before my court, and it's got to be probable cause, because we know there's a problem from the charge until the conviction stage. And that's my issue. I've seen over my years of practice that there's been an inequality from the charge, and that means when you're stopped. Okay. Mm-hmm. You've heard
the reasons why you're stopped.
Exactly. DWB. Okay. We know what that is. Okay.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, we've heard it over and over. And so we got to deal with that issue at the forefront. Okay. Yeah. And so when you bring that case before my court, you got to show that, why did you stop him? Is there probable cause to stop? If there's not probable cause, you need to go back and find the right defendant. Okay. So that's what I'm about. Okay.
So Oscar, I got a quick question. How do we get young minorities fair, impartial representation?
Well, everyone is entitled to, a right to counsel. Mm-hmm. The issue is costs. Okay?
Yes, exactly.
It's costs. Okay. Now we're getting more. We have a public defenders program, public defenders here in the counties. Okay. Well, we didn't have that before. So they were getting appointed counsel. And let's be honest, appointed counsel, a lot of times they're appointed, not a lot of times, they were appointed by the judge, okay?
Yeah.
The judge wants to move their docket, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Indeed, and this is one of the things that pushed me to just a few years ago wanting to become a judge. I saw an instance, I was in court where an attorney was appointed to represent a defendant. He was at the bench in front of the judge. The attorney was there, and the defendant was there, and he was appointed. The attorney was appointed, and he played the guy right there at the bench. Never went to the back to talk to him to find out what. That's not fair That's not representation. Okay.
Yeah.
It incensed me. It incensed me. And on the flip side, I walked in the court in Harris County. I saw a judge, and I went back to him. He's in county criminal court. I won't call his name, Harris County. I saw him talk to a young man that had been charged with theft, and the young man's grandmother, who was raising him, was in the back. She said he told the young man, he said, "You see that lady back there? I've seen her come to court with you 3 and 4 times. You're bringing her down here, taking her away from home. I know she's tired. I need you to get your act together. Okay, I'm going to put you on a program. You're not, I mean, you're dealing with, you got theft here. So I'm going to put you in a program to make you understand that you cannot do these things. Okay. But if you don't do the right thing and you come back down here, I'm going to deal with you. Okay. So you have those programs, but you got to let them know that there's consequences if they don't, carry out those programs. So it's fair and impartial, and it's employing rehabilitative programs, but there's got to be cost to it. They got to know that, I got this program and I'm on deferred adjudication, or I have pretrial diversion. But if I don't complete this, then I'm going to be back down here in front of this judge, and then I'm going to get the punishment that's set out. So we have to, we have to make sure, these young kids or whoever, the minorities, they get the fair representation. Indeed, I'll take a case. If you don't have the money, I'll work with you, because that's what I originally wanted to do. In terms of, I became a lawyer to help someone. I'll be honest. I got it. I went to undergraduate, and I said I needed. A lot of people took political science to become a lawyer. I said, if I don't become a lawyer, I need a job. So I majored in business and accounting. So I had something to fall back on. Okay. Yeah. And then I fell in love with tax law. And so I became a tax attorney, and, I had the business background. But then I realized, when the opportunity came, the job was thinking about transferring me back. They said there might be a job, but in Ohio, the corporation I work for. But my pastor said, hey, this might be your faith walk. And that's when I stepped out, and I started doing criminal law, civil law, every probate, every area of law possible that I could do. So, and being able to help a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, that's good to have the mentality to want to help people, as a lawyer, as a judge, because when you think about it, that's why people hire lawyers in the first place.
Exactly.
So that they can help them.
And then that's our job, to represent our clients zealously. We got to do it regardless, of the pay. If you take on a case, hey, you got to represent them, give them a representation, just like you. We're making a bunch of money. So you get on that case, you got to represent them to the utmost.
Yeah. So Oscar, one of the things that you're running on is fair and equal justice. And, we've talked about it a little bit throughout the stream. So what does fair and equal justice look like in a courtroom? Like, how can we fight more to get, fair and equal justice? How do we get judges to, put people more in these programs instead of just putting people behind bars, especially for senseless things?
Well, too often, justice has been based on one's race, ethnicity, economic status. You can't afford bail, okay? Your gender or nationality. So we got to get away from that. Judges have to get away from, sentencing based on those 5 particular things, okay? So that's how you're going to get fair and impartial justice for all. And when you make sure that you don't have judgment based on that, I mean, you'll see an inequality of sentencing that you would not believe, okay? One person may get a 1-year sentence, and another person may get a 5-year sentence for the same thing.
Same thing.
That's not fair and impartial justice. Okay, that's partial justice. Okay,
Yeah.
and that's happened too long, and it's still happening. Okay, it happens at the state, the county, and the federal level.
Is there any way that we can stop that? Like
Yeah.
maybe the state can come in and like start looking at some of these judges, because I even know that and I know we put the story in the comments, but there was a story of a judge that was selling minorities basically to the prison industrial and complex, just selling them just to prisons, giving them large sentences.
It happens. You get these private prisons.
Yes.
Now there's a big push for private prisons. Okay, so they're making money. So the more people they get in there, the more money they make. So you said there's an instance where a judge was selling the defendants to the prisons.
Wow.
That's a problem right there.
Yeah,
that's a problem right there. So. And so you got to have that justice that's not based on one's race. And indeed, unfortunately, there are more people of color in prisons because of the unequal sentencing. Okay, so that's an issue.
Do you feel like that's something that can be stopped?
Well, you always have a right of appeal, but a lot of times what happens is that you will have individuals that they plea because they don't have the money for a lawyer. They don't want to sit in jail. They say, well, I can go and do my 3 years. I might get 3 years in TDC. I'll be out in a year and a half. So when they take those pleas, and they may not have a right of appeal, but if you go ahead and you have your trial, you have a right of appeal. So you always have another level to go to. Okay, you have your court of appeals. And then you have your Court of Criminal Appeals, which is the equivalent of the criminal side of the Texas Supreme Court. Texas Supreme Court is, you have your civil on one side and corporate, and then you have your Court of Criminal Appeals. I'm sorry, the higher criminal court, which is pretty much paramount or tantamount to the Texas Supreme Court, just for the criminal side. So you have your right of appeal, but once individuals want to get out of jail, they say, hey, I can go ahead and do this time, and so I'll go ahead and take a plea. So that's a problem. So you have individuals taking a plea because, hey, let's get this over with. So then that's a problem because that conviction gets on their record. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's some instances of people taking pleas and they didn't even commit a crime.
Exactly. Because they've been sitting, they don't have representation. They get court-appointed lawyers, and so they say, "Hey, I've been sitting in jail for a year." Okay, and with COVID now, folks are, there are instances where individuals, they haven't had trials because they were so backed up, they weren't in court. So
yeah, and then the government, they get the state, they get a cut for those people, right? Staying in jail.
Well, at that I'm not sure. I know they got to feed them. I know the individuals get 3 square meals. Some individuals, they're getting 3 square meals in jail. So some of them, would prefer to be there, because they're, you got a homeless population, and that's and a lot of them are in that predicament, not because of anything they've done, but because they just find themselves in what my grandmother called in a pickle. Okay.
Yeah.
Lost a job, don't have a home. Indeed, I'm on the board of it's called Fort Bend Family Promise. Now, I get excited when I talk about this organization.
Okay.
This is a national organization, Family Promise, where it's a homeless initiative for the working homeless. Okay. These individuals go to work every day, but they found themselves without a home. Their kids go to school every day. So what we do, we have 2 centers, one in Missouri City and one in Rosenberg. So what we partner with churches where they'll stay at churches overnight, and then they'll come we have a day center where it's sectioned off. each center we can house four families, and so they'll come and they have their living area, they have their kitchen area, and we provide counseling to get them back in the homes within 30 days. And after they get in the homes, we continue with them on the counseling. So they, with their mortgage, and there's mortgage assistance, there's clothing assistance, there's food assistance. Indeed, they can come to the center, and we have a food pantry, we have a clothing pantry, we have we do a housewarming where they can come and get ironing boards, they can come and wash their clothes, whatever. So all of that. So you have a homeless population that they find themselves in jail, and so that's why I love this particular organization. I've been on the board. I was elected to the board this year. So we got to, and a lot of them have mental health issues. Okay. So we have to get them help. We have to get people help. So that's why these programs need to be employed.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that we definitely need. Because so often we see the prison system or the jail system being used as a way for homeless or mentally ill people, when we need more programs to, like, those people are not criminals. You should not be criminalized for being homeless or being mentally ill. I mean, to me, that's so asinine that we even have a system that even tries to do that.
And that's why we have to utilize those programs that are out there. I mean, previously, when we didn't have judges that looked like everybody, they weren't utilizing those programs. Yeah. So like you had individuals in jail or in prison that should not be there. They need help. So we have to get them the help that they need. We have to use those mental health programs. So I've seen instances where the mental health programs where they may be confined, but they're getting the help. Okay. They're day programs. They're month-long programs. Put them in a program for a month. Get them some mental health. They need to be treated. Yeah. Okay. They need to be treated. So
absolutely.
They're confined. They're already confined within their mind. Okay. Yeah. So confining them in a physical space is nothing compared to the confinement of their mind. Okay. Yeah. Because that mental problem, those mental issues, it's confined in their mind. Yeah. So we got to get them help.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what, and what I love what you're saying, because it's transforming, the court system, the judging system. A lot of people look towards that and see, oh my God, like, something's bad about to happen, when, you can actually, implement and try and direct people towards these different programs that can really, put their lives back on track, put them back on their feet.
Well, it's supposed to be when you confine somebody, it's to rehabilitate them. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you got to show some compassion. It's called compassionate justice, basically. Okay. Exactly. You're gonna have you got to have justice must be done. Okay. But like I said, I say it over and over, if those programs are out there, we got to utilize those programs. Yeah. You got to use we got to get the people to help. Okay. Otherwise, it's just a revolving door for them. Okay. Yeah. A revolving door for them. And then ones with mental health problems, they're not getting the help they need. So they're just in and out of prison. The homeless people. We got to deal with the homeless problem. Okay. Yeah. We got to deal with it. So those community-based programs that are out there, those feeding programs, I've been involved in since the pandemic. Food banks. I've probably done, and because I feel blessed. Okay, because I remember when. Okay, I remember when money, was tight. Okay, yeah. I was the studious one in the house, so I would count the amount for the bills and look at the 3 Social Security checks, my grandmother's, my grandfather's, and ours. Okay. Yeah. And I was like $653. Okay. Between 7 people. Okay. All right. So a Medicaid card and some food stamps. Okay. So, I mean, it's about helping people. Like I said, I'm involved in those food banks, and it's a joy. Whenever there's one, I want to be there, because if you can see the lines. Yeah. And the need is great. If you could see the lines people driving up nice cars, but you don't judge them. Okay. A lot of people say, well, they're driving up in a Mercedes, but you don't know the predicament that they're in. You don't know how they got there. Okay. So they had a
That's
job.
all they have is that Mercedes.
Exactly. One day they had a job, and because of the pandemic, they don't have the job. Okay. So now they got a car, no food. Okay. So you got to you got to meet people where they are. You got to meet the need where people are. And it's like I said, I've done probably over 40, food banks over the last year, and I just did one a couple weeks ago. So it's about helping people. That's it's my way of giving back, because I've been giving a lot. To those who much is given, much is required. I mean, I said my grandparents raised us, but we had my mother she was the youngest of 13 siblings. So she had my aunts and uncles became my big brothers and sisters. Okay. And in many cases, my mother and my father, because I had an aunt and an aunt and an uncle who they were also guardians. Like, so if I did something wrong, all 12 of those other siblings, they kept me in line. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't care where I was. If I was down the street and I looked like I wanted to do something wrong. Okay. But I was one of those children that was afraid. So I had the fear of God and the fear of my grandparents and my aunts and uncles. Okay. So So
that's one of the things that I like. That's very important. And a lot of politicians need to take note of that. When you're in a position, judge or whatever, it's important to connect with the community and, like you said, meet people where they are, and you get involved, you get to know these people that you represent. And I think that's very important to know the people you represent, because how can you really represent
or past
people
judgment.
if you don't know? It's just like if you look at, because you said you were brought up in the church, and so was I. It's just like God. God could not die in our place as God, because he's God.
Right.
He don't feel what we feel. So he sent part of himself down here so that he can represent man as a man.
In order to serve your community, you have to have been out there and know the needs of the community. Okay?
Absolutely. And I
you
love that
have
about
to,
you.
like you said, you talked about Jesus. He came down and was amongst the people. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So I have to understand when I represent someone and they say, hey, I've fallen on hard times, and hey, I need some sort of payment plan. I say, hey, I understand. I remember, my grandparents used the term, you have 10 bills and, I had $9. Okay. So they had to rob Peter to pay Paul. Okay. They weren't stealing now. Okay. I don't know if you ever heard that. You guys a little younger than me, but, they had to take from this bill to make sure to keep the lights on. Okay. All right. So you got to they always say, keep the lights on and the phone working. Okay. That people at least know you're in your home. So there were some times when, that it was tough on the lights and the fuel oil. They use fuel oil up in North New Jersey. So hey, when the oil embargo started back in the 70s, that fuel oil bill went up, and so we had an electric bill and a light and a fuel oil bill. We had to choose, and so sometimes we had to go down the street to my aunt's house, to stay till my aunt's them to put a little package together, is what they call it. Okay, so I've lived that, so I understand, and so I can be compassionate, Yeah. But the most important thing is that justice is done, okay, and justice doesn't always have to be sending someone to prison. Okay, everyone doesn't deserve to go to prison. Okay, they don't deserve it. They don't. I mean, their particular crime may not call for prison. So let's use those programs that are out there. I say it over and over again, and that's why I'm running. People ask me over and over, hey, you're at the end of your legal career, getting close. You like to travel. I said, this is my ministry. I believe that God has uniquely called me to do this. Okay, because I'm be honest. It's not easy out there campaigning. Okay.
No, it's not.
It's not easy. Okay. I've employed a midday nap. Okay. So weekends, like the last 3 weekends, have been like 5 events a day. Okay. On Saturday and Sunday, I wake up in the morning. But the joy that I have I've garnered from this is that I met a lot of nice people, and I've run into a lot of great programs to become involved with. Indeed, I went to a adult spelling bee, and it was given by the Literacy Council of Fort Bend. Okay. I found out that there are over 176 adults in Fort Bend County that cannot read, that are not literate. Okay, so this place teaches them how to read, and these aren't just folks that have come from other countries. Okay, these are American. Some of these are Americans. Okay, that have grown up in America, but they teach them how to read. They teach them how to comprehend. It's an excellent program. So I went by and visited the center in Sugar Land last week. I went to the adult spelling bee, which was actually fun. They had adult teams that were spelling, and a lot of the words, you know, I love spelling. You know, when I was in elementary and junior high, I looked forward to the Friday spelling test. Test, right? Okay, I would practice my word, but some of those words, I couldn't spell them. 4 people at our table, and 3 of them were lawyers. Okay, we're like, not just because they were lawyers, but there were college educated folks there, and what's that word? We were spelling that word. Indeed, we're pulling out our phones and we're going to Google that word. Okay. So I mean, there's a lot of great causes out there to champion. Okay. Yeah. I challenge individuals to get out there and champion a cause. You know, it's about helping. It's about helping. There's a scripture. You know, Jesus says, well, you know, when I was hungry, did you feed me? You know, when I was naked, did you clothe me? You know, when I was home, when I had no place to lay my head, you know, hey, did you house me? You know, and I'm paraphrasing in many respects. I'm not trying to be a preacher, okay? So, but anyway, so we have to be willing to assist those people. Yeah. And indeed, I think justice should be fair and impartial. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
And it's you know, like you said, everybody should get out there and champion the cause, because you know, we're at such a deficit here in America with you know, education, like you're saying. I mean, economics. I mean, we're just in a lot of places we're behind the 8 ball, but we do have people out there that are trying to, you know, help champion these causes, help bring people together, help people, uplift people. And you know, you just need to spread that word, spread the word. Exactly. Let people know about this podcast, because you know, that's one of the things we're facing, censorship, and we try and get people who are involved in the community, people who are making a difference, people who have their hand in the community, because so often we elect people who don't have their hand in the community, and they're not relatable to us, and then when they get into office or when they get into power, they just don't look like us, or they don't champion for us. And so
let me applaud you for what you all are doing. You're hitting it where it needs to be hit. Okay, Raw Take is a perfect name. Okay, because you're hitting it on the ground floor, and you speak truth. Okay, you got to speak truth to power. Okay, exactly. And if you don't speak truth, you know, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Okay,
that's true.
But I applaud you all for standing for something and for getting the word out there and for bringing people on your show that are willing to do something. Okay. Yeah. I thank you for this opportunity, you know. But it's about people. It's about, you know, people cared for me. And so my grandmother always said, treat people how you want to be treated. Okay. Yeah. So, and that's what I'm about. I want to help somebody if I can. That's this old song we sing in church. If I can help somebody, I'm sorry. Archie brought up the church. He went to church on me, so
it's all good.
So he's taking me back to church. Yeah. Okay? I'm still in church. Okay,
hey, that's why I stopped talking. I was like, you know what, we're gonna be on a whole different property.
We end up taking an offering up here, Archie. Okay, you know, I am a deacon. I've been a deacon for 30 plus years, and now I'm on the trustee board at my church. So, like I said, I've served in my church. I've served in my community. Now I want to serve Fort Bend as a whole. Okay.
Okay.
I believe that, and I sincerely believe with passion that I can get in this position and I can do the best job, okay, that I was called to do. And that's what I want to do. That's why I'm running, because there's some days you want to say, hey, I'm tired. Why am I doing this? Okay. So I don't drink coffee, so coffee doesn't help me to keep going. Okay, I don't do the energy drinks. I'd be, shaking. So yeah, so I've gotten out there.
Get you going.
You got to keep going.
Yeah.
So,
so Oscar, one last question, and it's about getting your legal affairs in order. We've talked about legal counsel being so expensive. How can someone who can't afford legal services get legal counsel? And I know there's a couple of programs out there.
You got Lone Star Legal Aid. You got a number of organizations. You go to the Houston Bar Association. They have days where they'll lead you to folks that and as lawyers we're encouraged to do pro bono work. Okay, so they'll say, hey, how many hours of pro bono or have you done this year? And I endeavor to give back every year. So those programs are out there. And you talked about getting your legal affairs in order, which is an area of this court, probate. I want to implore individuals, if you don't have a will, get a will. Okay?
Yes.
If it's only a simple will. Folks say, well, I don't have anything. You'd be surprised. You do have something, okay? And you save individuals that are here after you're gone with from a whole lot of problems, okay? Because you don't have a will, then you have what you have to do what's called an independent administration. Your property, it has to be distributed. You have 4 children, it's got to be distributed. So you got to do that through the court, So get a will. I mean, these days you have individuals contesting wills, so you have problems with wills, but it's best to have a will and have a will that's in place. You want to get your medical power of attorney in place, okay? You want to get in the event that you're sick and you can't make a decision, okay? So you have somewhere you have that medical power of attorney, so they can make the decision on your behalf. Indeed, you probably already talked with that individual who might be your child or your spouse, and with the decision you're going to make. And then there's another thing. They call it a directive to physicians. That's the legal name, but it's actually called a living will. If you become in a vegetative state, or you can't be resuscitated, or you can't live unless you're going to be what they call a vegetable, or and you can only live on life support. Yeah. You want to have in place what's called a directive to physicians, because you don't want to leave individuals with the decision to make whether to take you off that machine, okay, or to leave you in that state. Indeed, the individuals have been in that state for years, okay, 3-4 years on a machine. Can't live unless they're on a machine. When the person's in that state, they can't tell you. And then we as individuals here, we have the tendency to want to keep our loved ones here, which is natural, as long as possible, okay? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you'll have family members that are saying, no, I don't want you to pull the plug. And that's not him. That's not her. So, so if no one can make the decision, they're in that state. So I implore you to, go to Lone Star Legal Aid, or have somebody, get yourself a will, get yourself a medical power of attorney. In the event you become disabled, get yourself a statutory durable power of attorney. So if you can't make decisions to handle your business affairs, you may not have a medical issue, but you just can't get out, and you can't, make those business decisions. Get somebody you can trust to become your agent to make those decisions on your behalf. You can get it done now and put in that particular power of attorney. This becomes effective when I become under a disability as determined by a doctor. Okay. Yeah. So those are things you talk about getting. I'm glad you asked that question, because that's an important area that you need to have. You need to have those power of attorneys, because once you become in a particular state, you can't make those decisions. You got to get a guardianship. When you have a power of attorney, a durable power of attorney, statutory durable power of attorney, you can do the same thing. An individual that's your agent can do the same thing that a guardian can do. The only problem that you have when you have to go through a guardianship with the court It's a long process
Yeah.
and an expensive process. Okay, thousands and it could be thousands of dollars, and then you got to report every year. You got to do everything, which you need to do when you become a guardian. But if you got that power of attorney, someone you can trust, that's going to handle those affairs. You know, you pay for that the smaller amount on the statutory durable power of attorney, as opposed to that person having to go get a guardianship. You know, so yeah, get your legal affairs in order. It's important. So.
Yeah. And I'm gonna add this note. It's very important for our community, because so often in the Black community, and I mean I can only speak for the Black community. When somebody died, when Meemaw died, when Paw died, no one has anything in order, and a lot of the times the bank collects the house, and then we lose that generational wealth that we could have gained from having that house.
Exactly. You have houses and land. I mean, I have a couple of cases where an individual passed away. He didn't have a will, and and so he had no, the property had to be distributed among the heirs. So you had to go find all the heirs. And indeed, he had, may have had sisters and brothers, and so his sisters and brothers have passed away. So you go down, you got to find. One instance where there was a case out there with like 167 heirs. Okay. Wow. But and individuals look for property that have been, this is just sitting there. No one's paying the taxes because nothing's been put in place. And so you have individuals that are going out there to get this property, and they start paying the taxes, and then they claim by what we call adverse possession that it becomes theirs. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a travesty. Like you said, that generational wealth is gone. Growing up, I was told, hey, land is king. Okay. You want to hold on to your land. Okay. And individuals are losing their land because those particular, you haven't put it in place to pass that property on after you're gone. We're all going to leave this place. Okay. Exactly. We're going to leave. So you need to put something in place so individuals that are left here can do what they need to do in order to move that generational wealth on to the next level. Okay?
Yeah, to the next level. Yeah, and like you said, people get the houses just on paying the taxes. Little, a couple of $1,000s a year, and you lose something that's worth $100,000, $200,000.
Exactly. And individuals that the heirs, they feel like, well, they paid the taxes, so it's theirs, but it's not necessarily theirs. So you need to check into that, because paying taxes alone, and not showing individuals that you have a absolute exclusive claim or right to that property, just paying taxes alone will not get you the property. Okay.
Okay. So there is like kind of like a loophole out of it.
Exactly. They have to show that they paid the taxes, but there's case law out there. Just paying the taxes alone is not and cutting the grass, because people don't know that that's not what we call adverse possession. It's the state wants the property to be to pass and someone to have title to it. So they encourage that. So after a certain amount of time, if you've held it adversely, then it becomes your property. You can get title and deed to the property. But if that person hasn't held it openly, what we call open and notorious under a claim of right, then people have a right to reclaim that property. Heirs have a right to reclaim that property. So
wow,
it's a process. You got to go through the court. So, but
and I think that's something that a lot of people don't know about. So you just giving that extra tidbit of information to people who are watching, who may be going through this.
There's a lot of people who have lost property, that's been in their family for years, because they don't understand that just because someone pays the taxes, goes out there and pays the taxes, that it doesn't necessarily go ahead and you get the property and get the property back, and you're gonna pay them their tax money back. But in instances, there could be instances where this property is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Indeed, I've seen cases where property is worth millions of dollars. The person has paid a whole lot less than $1 million for taxes. So you need to do if you think there's some property out there that belongs to you, you need to, call Lone Star Legal Aid or call a lawyer, I don't want to advertise, so I'm not going to say call me. Okay. So, but, call a lawyer, and find out what your rights are, get a consultation. A lot of lawyers like myself will do free consultations, and we can, if we can't help you, we can direct you to someone else. So the important thing is that you seek help, and that's what it's about. So
yeah. And I feel like, some people who may be on the lower economical end of the, have lower economics, they may feel like, oh, a lawyer, I can't afford a lawyer, but
right, they do, and like I said, we're encouraged,
like you're saying,
to help those that need help, and you got to be willing, to lend yourself. It's not all about, making the money. You got to have a conscience. Some people haven't been in that particular predicament, where they've needed help, so they don't know how to help people. Okay, that's another learned behavior, to help somebody. Okay, if you haven't been helped and you feel like everything you got was because of who you are, you're not gonna want to help anybody. Okay.
Now, Oscar, let me say this real fast though, to people who are watching now, people who may watch later. You hear Oscar talking about helping people, and that's what he builds on, which is great. But that does not mean that if you do have the money, you go to the lawyer acting like you don't, just so you can get by with paying.
Exactly.
If you have the money, then you need to pay.
Right. And we can tell who has it. Okay. All right. So, I mean, it's a job. I tell folks I enjoy helping others, but this is not a hobby. Okay. Okay. Yeah. We have bills to pay. We have staff. We have rent to pay. We have periodicals to buy. We have to take classes every year. Indeed, I'm a part of a member of what's called the Texas Bar College. As lawyers, we're required to take a minimum of 15 hours of continuing legal education every year. 5 of those or 60 of those can be self-study. Since 2013, I've been a member of the Texas Bar College, where you have to take a minimum of 39 credit hours. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I want to do more than just the minimum. Okay. Because I want to be better. Okay. I want to provide the best representation possible. So I'll go and I'll take these classes with lawyers that have been lawyers longer than I have. Okay. They're willing to share. They're willing to share what they've learned. And you could take your cases. I've been going to a class, Litigation Update Institute, where it helps me with my trial work. And indeed another class, Advanced Trial Strategies, where judges will come in and they'll tell you how they do things in their courtroom. So I've been taught, I've learned up under these, been taught, by these judges and by these senior lawyers, big lawyers. Rusty Hardin, national lawyers are coming. I've gone to classes with, you remember Johnny Cochran, and so you got to learn and you got to hone your craft. Okay. Mm-hmm. You always got to be on top of your craft. And I can tell I'm getting a little older, because I tell young lawyers, go take these classes. Indeed, they give you 1 free class a year. Okay. All right. So go get a class. You don't want to be in court or somewhere and you don't know what to do when there's classes out there to take. Indeed, you're required to take the 15 hours. And a lot of young lawyers will just say, well, I'll do self-study 6 hours and the other 9 hours I'll do online. Go out there and interact with those lawyers. Okay. Take your cases to them. They'll help you. They'll say, well, try this, try that. Every time this Litigation Update Institute class, I get excited about this because I hadn't missed this class in a long time. Okay. And we weren't live. We were on web class this year because of COVID. So I every time I've gone, there's a case that active case that I'm working on. You learn all the new laws, all the new cases that have come out since the last year. You get Supreme Court updates, and they talk about their cases, and they'll meet you on the break, and they'll talk about it. What about this? Try this, Oscar, and then I'll tell them this. I'm trying. Oh, that's good. I've never tried that. So they learn, and most of all, you learn. Yeah. So, young lawyers, if there's anything I could say to you, hone your craft. Educate yourself, better yourself. You should want to be better. You should want to provide the best representation that you can for your client. And then you've been paid a lot of money. Folks are paying you hourly money that's sometimes unthinkable, okay? All right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sometimes unthinkable, okay? So, but you have to understand that, lawyers have to figure in that they got overhead in there, okay? They got to pay for it. So, and it takes time. It takes time. So, but lawyers, learn. Go out and learn. Better yourself. Educate yourself. I'm still every day. You learn something new every day. You learn something new every day. So I don't want to be caught in court or in a mediation or just negotiating with another lawyer or an insurance company and not know what to do, not understand or what to say or how to answer. I want to have the answer before I get there, okay? I want to do my research. I've done my work before I get to court, okay? So preparation is the key. And that's not just about being a lawyer, Poor preparation, poor planning, poor execution. Bottom line.
Basically.
Bottom line. Every time. I know when I haven't done the work that I'm supposed to do, okay? I know. So I have to stop when I'm doing, hey, I got to be in a hearing in the morning. If I got to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and it's not clicking like it's supposed to, I got to get to it between 3 and 6 and 7. So I got to be ready. So I get downtown or wherever to do what I need to do, to represent my client zealously. So, and that's going to have to be the same thing as a judge. Judge is going to have to read those, understand what's going on in those cases. So I've had that preparation. I have that training, that experience. And that's why I want to take this to this level of being a judge. So,
yeah, Oscar, we have a comment from one of our viewers. Can y'all have him back on to go over this subject? It's important to the community to know this information. So,
I'll be glad to. Indeed, I'll be glad to. And Gion and Archie, if you need to, I'll be glad to come back. Or if you need to give him my number to talk to him. I'm not trying to. I'll help them. I'll spread the word. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll help them in any way they can. You can give them my number, my office number.
I'll go ahead and add that in the description once we get off.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be willing. Hey, if I can't help them, I'll direct them to someone. Indeed, if I get a case that I can't handle, I have friends and colleagues. I'll give them a call. Say, hey, I got this potential client. I can't handle it. I don't have time to. And I know you do this all day, every day. I don't do labor law, so I have folks I can get on the phone. Social Security law, workers' comp law. Okay, hey. Some of them say, hey, what's your referral fee? Hey, you're doing the work. It's your case, okay? I'm not seeking a referral fee, okay? Because you're doing the work. Because someone's going to return the favor to you. I don't do it to get a return favor, but we work in those circles. Each one, reach one.
Yeah.
And then you're helping someone. So that the bottom line is that you get to help someone. So, and that's what you should be looking to do. Well, I'll just say that's what I'm looking to do, okay? Yeah. That's just the way I've been brought up. Okay. So like I said, I know I'm starting to sound like a scratch record, but that's the way I've been taught. And that's what's been given to me. So it's my time to give back.
Yeah.
It's my time. I've been giving back, but it's my time to take it to another level. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And we definitely need that reach one, teach one aspect. We always talk about that on the show. Because it's just so paramount. So to keep, pulling people up instead of having the crab in the barrel mentality.
Yeah, exactly. That's a problem. That crab in the barrel mentality. I got mine, you get yours. No.
Okay. No. We got one more question, Oscar. What does your first year of judgeship look like? What things you feel must be done in your first year?
Great question. My first year, on the first day, I'm going to be prepared to hear every type of case that comes through that court. Okay, I'm qualified in every area of the law: civil, criminal, probate, and juvenile. I practice in those areas extensively. So what I think needs to be done we need to employ a more balanced approach so those cases will be heard. Okay, all those cases. You'll hear on the campaign trail, well, it's 70% criminal cases that are heard, because that's just the way they've been doing it. Okay.
Yeah.
But if you do what you always did, you get what you always got. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So my first year of judgeship, it is to putting in place a program where all the cases, have a right to are being heard. Okay. Indeed, those that are charged with crimes have a right to a speedy trial. But those that have civil cases, that this court or no court just belongs to those that are criminally charged. So this is the people's court. So we need to make sure. I'm going to make sure that those civil cases are heard. Having taken 5 years to get a civil case to trial is ridiculous. So I'm going to have I got a vision for this court. Those juvenile cases, of course, they have a timetable that they need to be heard. Okay, probate cases. I'm going to make sure that we have a more balanced approach. So that's for my first year of judgeship. So like, if I got to do more dockets, okay. If I got to do, put some night dockets, evening dockets, okay. All right. We don't have the luxury of having an associate judge for every county court of law judge right now. We have one associate judge, okay. Now in district court, they didn't have their own associate judge. They found some money where at the district court level, that each one of them were getting their own court, their associate judge, because there was some CARES Act money, and so they're able to now hear more cases. Because Harris County, Fort Bend County, let's face it, these cases are backed up because of the pandemic. So we got to do something to bring those cases to be heard. And so that's what my first year of judgeship will be, putting into a place programs that these cases will be heard. Great question. Thank you for that question.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Oscar. So I think that's it. And we love having you on, Oscar. We like having people who are involved in the community, people who have their hand in the community, people who are giving back. And we try and spotlight people like that who run for office, because we need more activists, people who are active in the community.
Thank you for having me on, and keep doing the great work that you're doing. No matter what folks say, keep at it, okay? Keep your hand to the plow, okay? You hear me, Archie, right?
Oh, yeah.
Keep your hand to the plow, okay? Stay focused, and that's what I'm about. I'm running a clean campaign. I'm focused on doing what I need. I'm running for a position. I'm not running against a person. You're going to hear stuff from the outside, and this just doesn't go to running for office. Young people, you're going to hear voices from the outside trying to get inside your head. Stay focused. Keep your eyes on the prize, okay? There's a great big world out there. It's your oyster. Go get it. Stay focused, but you got to stay focused, because when you take off those blinders and start looking to the side, there's a whole bunch of mess out there, okay? Don't get caught up in it. Stay focused.
That's good.
Again, thank you for allowing us to come on and share our vision. And I like to leave with, go out and help somebody.
Definitely.
That's good.
And you guys are helping. You guys are helping people. So keep it up.
Thank you, Oscar. Thank you. So everyone, that's our show. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any uploads. Also, you can find us anywhere where you can listen to podcasts. Y'all have a good day. Peace.